Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. You'll get 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with the welcome offer of 150,000 points, your business can soar to all new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger Delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.
And she didn't discriminate. She bought super expensive things, but also like super cheap things.
I loved her haggling.
I really did as well.
Brilliant haggling.
It's a lesson in haggling.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, you're right. I need to haggle like that.
Yeah. But I liked her reason for haggling when she said that there are certain cultures where haggling is part of the transaction.
Yeah.
And she said that if within that culture, if you go to the vendor and they give you a price and you don't haggle, you've ruined their day because they're thinking, oh crap, I could have gotten more money.
87, that's right. This is the 87th episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Today we're joined by Post-Colonial Child,
Woohoo!
Bookshy Books,
Woo!
and Books and Rhymes. And as always, Helen.
Woo!
And we're going to be talking about the documentary Iris.
Yes!
I wonder who chose the film.
I wonder.
Come find us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. Visit the website flixwatcher.tv for full listings, and don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us an awesome review.
Guys, just as a big reminder, all films on the podcast were available on Netflix at the time of recording. There will be bad language, there will be spoilers. I hope you enjoy it. See you later.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Today in our little recording studio, it is very, very full. Yep. We are joined by the wonderful ladies from the Not Another Book podcast. If you would like to introduce yourselves, please, and tell us a little bit about the podcast that you do.
Hello, listeners. This is Books and Rhymes. I don't know if you can tell. I'm the wacky one. I'm the one who laughs a lot on Not Another Book podcast. So Not Another Book podcast is a book podcast that says what you're thinking but are too afraid to say. But much more than that, it's a podcast where we engage in honest discussions about reading, writing, the publishing industry, and everything in between. We make reading accessible for everyone, and we're not afraid of saying what we mean and what we think. And I think a few people, including writers, are scared of us.
How do they show their fear?
Sometimes by not contacting us.
By subtweeting us.
Yes.
By not giving us books.
Yeah. True.
So how long have you guys been running? You're quite a new show, aren't you?
Yeah.
On the Shout Out Network, we've had Miss Morgan on here.
Yes.
Yeah, and everyone speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been talking a lot. So Bookshy Books and Post-Colonial Child, go on.
We launched in April.
Yeah,
17th of April.
Wow, you actually know the date?
Listen, yes, our first episode was released on the 17th of April.
That's why you're talking about
Clearly, if we ever have like a pop quiz on NABP, you're the one that's going to be leading.
Yeah, and people seem to like it. So, I mean, when it was first launched, people were posting on their Insta stories, were tweeting about it. And in the first week, we were listened to in more than 65 countries. And we charted number 7 in Nigeria. We charted 8 in Kenya, and also we were number 9 in the UK in our first week of launch, and we're all like, our jaws were on the floor. And within 4 months since we've been out, we were number 1 on iTunes literature chart for 3 weeks. So I say all of this because I still can't believe it's real. Not because it's like, I'm just like, people listen to us, yeah.
Well, you should. There is a reason why we were number 1.
Why are we number 1?
So we've got Books and Rhymes. Who else have we got?
Bookshy.
who is very book shy. And this is post-colonial child, the shady one.
What does the shady one mean?
Usually I like to make people clutch their pearls, sometimes drag them slightly.
Sometimes?
Yes.
Unlike you, all the time, mate.
Yes. And I like to annoy Books and Rhymes.
And I tend to just listen to the both of them and then just chime in just so that people know I'm actually around. And then I go back and listen.
Can you hear that laugh? You can guess who that is.
So today we're going to be reviewing your choice, which is Iris. So if you can give us a brief synopsis, 2 minutes if possible, and then tell us why you chose it.
Okay, so Iris, if you haven't watched it, please watch it and get your life. So Iris is a fashion, well, I wouldn't say it's a fashion film. It's a film about a style icon, a woman who became a style icon at the latter stage of her life. So at the age of 80, her style was exhibited in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it was an accidental exhibition, unplanned, and so a lot of the museum did not anticipate the demand for the exhibition, and people just the appetite for her style was just so much that she just blew overnight. And so the documentary is exploring her life, exploring how she became, just exploring the process, and it's about her. And it charts her going to different talks and just talking about her life. The reason why I picked it, the reason why the film made such an impact on me is because it got me thinking about how we classify success. And it also had me thinking about what I took away from the film is the eventual benefit of being true to who you are and not compromising, just living your life the way you want to live it. And also the ultimate payback of not being a role player, but having integrity and being true to who you are. This is what I think the film is about. So if you're looking for a quiet inspiration, Iris is it.
There's one really cool part of the film. A lot of the film, you see her going to different thrift shops or non-thrift shops. I don't really know what you call them. I was thinking of that Macklemore song half the time. But there's one really cool bit where you don't actually hear the person she's talking about, but he says, yeah, get here early, get here for 4:00 in the morning to make sure you get the best stuff.
Yes.
And they were doing that for a while and they were just properly tired doing it. And her husband just goes, you don't even want the stuff that everyone else has.
Yes.
So why are we getting there when everyone else is there? Let's just have a lie-in and then we'll still pick off exactly what we want to do. And that ties in with what you were saying, Books and Rhymes, in that she is true to her own self. And I think it is an inspiring kind of thing there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned the husband, because her relationship with the husband is just wonderful. The fact that I think to me it is an epitome of true partnership, where each person plays the role in the relationship without overshadowing the other. And each person knows their role. You're comfortable in letting the other person shine in their own way, and knowing that you shine in your way, I shine my way, but we complement each other so well for our greater collective good. So yes.
Oh, it's interesting when you said watch it for quiet inspiration, because I totally agree with you on the inspiration part, but in terms of quiet, there is no way anything about that woman, I would say, would be quiet. And I say that, and she wasn't loud per se, but she also wasn't quiet. But there was such a confidence in Iris. So amazing. Also, can I just say, Books and Rhymes, I really thought you were going to come rocking Iris inspiration, like wearing chunky bracelets and chunky necklaces.
No,
I was really expecting that.
I do that when I'm not on the clock.
But I'm not surprised that Books and Rhymes chose this movie.
Why?
Did you say you're not surprised, or you are?
Not surprised, no.
No. Everyone who knows her bold sense of fashion wouldn't. I'm not surprised at all. I think I can see you via Iris.
Yeah, I was about to say, clearly you're channeling, you were like, we're choosing this because this is going to be me when I'm in my 90s.
Oh, no, you don't understand. This is me now. Okay? I'm not waiting until I'm in my 90s. This is me now. And when I mentioned that it is, when I mentioned that it is about being true to who you are from where you are to for the rest of your life. The reason why the first exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art was very successful was because they were looking through the couture costume jewelry she has collected for a very long time, from the beginning of her life. Not beginning, but from decades ago.
From when she was 11.
Yeah, can you imagine?
She had such amazing memory.
Brethren.
And the detail that she remembered the first thing she bought was when she was 11 or 12, and that she knows exactly where she got every single thing that she bought from. I thought that was amazing.
And to me, it's also about living a life of purpose. When you do, like, we read books, and I presume that we have different relationships to the books that we read.
Yes.
So I know where I was when I read certain books are landmarks for me.
Yeah.
I know where I was when I read certain stories. I know where I was. I know how it hit me. Even when I read the book again, I'm recreating a new memory with that book. So I presume that's what jewelries and her clothes are for her. They're not just something you wear. They take on a whole new personality, and they become an extension of who she is, and she infuses herself into that. So yeah, it's amazing.
So what are your thoughts, guys?
Well, I like what you said, Books and Rhymes, and I kind of agree with that. It's sort of about a story that she sort of became like an overnight success. And it made me reflect a lot about, in today's society, in this age of social media, how we kind of expect everything to be, first, people to be successful, like just with a click of the fingers, and then actually it takes, for some people, it could take a whole lifetime. And what I liked about her is that she just exuded this happiness, this energy. And I imagine that even before she was an overnight success, she was already that, you know? So for me, it was just the example of doing what you love, just regardless if you're getting some sort of, prizes or being acknowledged. She was just being herself.
Yeah.
But I actually wanted to add on the overnight success. It also is a definition of how we define success.
Yes.
Because she did say at one point in the documentary, I was known in the trade. There were certain spaces where they knew who I was.
Yes.
But it was then when she got big, and I guess as you said, social media age, so in Vogue and Elle and those kind of magazines, then she became famous. But I feel, she'd worked for the White House, although they weren't allowed to tell us.
I wanted to know more about the Jackie O administration.
And she had her own, she and her husband had their own
interior
designing company.
Yes.
And she'd done all these things. So I totally agree with you, Post-Colonial Child. It's about how we define success in this social media age, when this woman was basically killing it in her industry, or in her many different industries for decades.
Yes.
And
And when you were speaking Bookshop, because I was thinking of the demarcation between success and fame. Because she's famous now, but she's always been successful.
That's why, I think that's what you're getting at there.
Yeah.
It's like in this world now,
it's about fame.
there's people who just want to be famous
Yes.
for not doing anything
Yeah.
apart
And they're
from
not successful.
flexing their pecs or their ass on Instagram.
thirst pics are a thing.
At
on Insta.
Copestar on Instagram, guys.
You know how many people are fake models on Instagram?
Brethren, listen, And then it's also about how the measure for success has also changed, going off what you said, Kobe, how the measure of success has changed, so that it's almost as if you're not being acknowledged for what you're doing, are you successful? If people aren't shouting you from the rooftop, are you successful? And so when I said quietly inspirational, I meant, the woman is like in your face. You can't miss her, but she doesn't shout. You just can't. It's just who she is. But by quietly inspirational, I mean that the film does not tell you it is an inspirational film. Whilst you're watching, there is something working in the inside of you. You are introspecting based on what you're seeing, and you are interpreting and querying yourself and questioning in a way you are processing and reassessing your values and your journeys compared to hers. That's what I meant by quietly. It's just, and I think that's really inspiring when someone doesn't tell you, when books and films do not tell you the expected outcome, but you get that from watching or reading them.
So Helen, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was just going to say, right now, if you're thinking, Iris, is that the film with like Judi Dench in it? Or is it the film with this in it? There are quite a few films called Iris. And if you do a quick little Google, we are talking about Iris, and you can sort of tell this. She's a very elderly lady with amazing hair, massive owl glasses, fantastic colours, complete clash of patterns. Mongolian jackets,
Yes.
And
New
always
York
lipstick.
corner shop, plastic necklaces. That's the one we're talking about. You probably have seen her face, maybe in Dazed and Confused or some kind of modelling.
Vanity Fair, Vogue,
Yeah,
everywhere.
but probably not really known that much about her. I think I'd sort of seen her face, but not really known what she'd done sort of before being famous now, which is kind of interesting. So she's had quite a privileged life, but a very, very interesting life. And it's very much that really old school New York, which is still alive and kicking in the lofts of Manhattan, very much still. So it is, I really, really liked Iris. I really, really wanted to know a lot more from her. The format of the documentary, I felt didn't quite tell me that much about her though. And I was left wanting a little bit more structure to the story or a little bit more insider knowledge. But I really enjoyed just sort of seeing her shuffling around and going, I bought this then and I'm going to do with that. And it is very much that old school New York.
I remember watching a Michael Jackson documentary, and I can't remember who was interviewing him at the time, but he just went into all these different stores and he'd be buying stuff.
Was it the Martin Bashir
I think
one
it was
on Channel
Martin
4?
Bashir. I can't remember.
that
I remember
infamous
watching that one
interview.
when I was a teenager.
It was just buying stuff, and then the person who owned the store was like, he's bought that already, but he just doesn't take it home. He's just buying this stuff, and then
Too much
leaving it
money.
there. So what are you doing? But at least Iris took stuff home.
And she wears them.
And she didn't discriminate. She bought super expensive things, but also super
I
cheap things.
I loved her
liked
haggling.
that. I really did as
Brilliant.
well.
Brilliant haggling.
It's a lesson in haggling.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, you're right. I need to haggle like that.
Yes, but I liked her reason for haggling when she said that there are certain cultures where haggling is part of the transaction.
Yeah.
And she said that if within that culture, if you go to the vendor and they give you a price and you don't haggle, you've ruined their day because they're thinking, oh crap, I could have gotten more money for this.
Right.
So you've literally ruined the business for the day. It reminds me of when I went to, so I traveled to a culture like that where you haggle. And so I was going to buy something and the woman told me the price and I was like, no, I've got to go. And she was like, come back. And I came back. She goes, how dare you walk away? That's not how we do it here. You've got to tell me how much you want to pay. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And so we had a conversation. So when she said that, it made total sense.
Yes.
So I agree with Helen in the fact I think the format just doesn't really tie it together. I think she's a fascinating character, and like you say, with her husband, I don't think. Obviously, the story wasn't about her husband, but that relationship is obviously a part of what they. The fact he's 100, and they're both very lucid at 100. It's like she's 90, he's 100, and the only discernible difference is that he's in the wheelchair for most of it. Is like there's something great about these two. But yeah, just the documentary format didn't work. And like we saw Paris is Burning, and that's loved everything that's happening, but the format of the documentary didn't really help me understand better what was going on there. But
Do you know, I saw it quite differently because I saw it more as a film. It was about her entrance into this new fashion world as it is. So I thought, even though I get to saying that the film could have told us more about Iris, but I felt like I got enough of Iris to want to find out more about her instead of being overfed. I was given just enough to whet my appetite. On the other hand, I learned a bit about how just the sycophancy of the fashion industry, because there was one blonde woman who was like, oh, Iris, I love you. I was like, move, man. You don't. It's only because she's a because you can benefit off her. Just move. So I got to see how just sycophantic the fashion industry. So I thought it married both well, but it made me want to learn more about Iris. I want to buy the book now about her.
Maybe couldn't you also say that the movie or the people that made the movie sort of are a bit like the blonde woman?
Yeah.
Because I found just like, so I basically had seen Iris a couple of times, but
in real life?
No. In magazines, blogs and stuff like that. And I was like, who is this woman? But there was never no like information, or she was just like on Pinterest or something. And it was nice to get a little bit about her, but I also felt that, I understand what you guys are saying, which is that the format didn't kind of work, but it almost felt like they were like, oh, she's such a great personality, and she's just, like this exotic, interesting animal that was just put it there, and you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, this is amazing," but it's not giving you enough.
The
You
depth,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with Post-Colonial Child. When I was watching it, I thought it was more like, again, here's this really stylish 90-year-old woman who can rock whatever she wants. And the focus of the documentary will be on how stylish she is and how she's able to, or how she's acquired all the different pieces she's acquired over the decades, but not necessarily, because I think there was a bit where they're like, it's also about how fashion is more than just fashion. It's about architecture and this and that. And I thought maybe they could have brought more of that, her different backgrounds, into how it is that she became to what she is today, because I felt you had to infer a lot of things.
Yes.
So if you watched it, you had to then be like, okay, from her working at the White House, from her doing this, from her doing that, she's able to reach here.
Yes.
But it didn't necessarily throw it at you. But I'm with Post-Colonial Child. I don't think they wanted to spell it out for us. They honestly just wanted us to marvel at this 90-year-old woman who's like just killing it with fashion.
Should we really be marveling? Because, you know, I think there's tons of women of Iris' age who dress just as amazing and are just as confident and are living boldly. I almost feel like it's a bit like, oh, she's 90 and she still wears fashionable clothes. And it's like, well, yeah,
they do
women
exist.
are living their life.
But I think I totally agree with what you're both saying. But I think also the film is, which is why I always use the phrase quietly. It just, because it's like you said, it infers, it requires you to do the work for yourself instead of doing it for you. So in a way, that sort of, it adopts the European style approach to filmmaking, where they don't spell it out. You have to then go and do it for yourself. But the point you're making about tokenizing her as an older woman, they have no choice but to tokenize her because it's America, you know. And she made a point clearly talking about how there was a point she made about plastic surgery and the fact that she doesn't want to do plastic surgery because there's some people who are changing their faces. She's full of quips, so many good quips. And she made a quip about plastic surgery. And I was like, yes, this is a woman who is confident in her age, confident in who she is. Yes, you know, the face is melting, but it's my face.
It's actually quite interesting. She said,
I'm not politically correct.
You mean melting into glory.
Yes. Thanks for the save.
Because she was told, wasn't she, that she wasn't pretty?
Yeah, she
There
never
was
felt
one thing
pretty.
she was told.
Who tells people that?
Well, I don't know.
Ugly
Someone
people.
obviously-
Ugly people tell people that.
I agree with you,
and
lots
she,
of
and
aunties.
she was like, I'm not bothered. I don't really care. And
I love your accent.
I know, I was going to say, you love the accent. You love doing the accent.
And she sort of said that, you know, friends that were pretty at the time and they're not pretty now because they had the surgery. And it was quite nice and refreshing. But obviously, I think in the roles that she had, it didn't matter that she had to kind of look pretty in that way. But it's kind of an interesting lesson for any kind of young people to be listening that, you know, being pretty isn't everything. If you kind of let your character show with what you wear and how you choose to sort of present yourself, you don't have to aspire to be what society says is pretty.
Totally agree.
And it all basically, I feel for me, it's like it all falls down. At some point, when
melts.
you're well into your age, nobody cares about beauty.
It melts, man.
You know,
Please.
and the
Let's
reason
go
why
spade is spade.
Exactly.
You
well,
know?
I
all the
prefer
time.
not to think I'm going to be melting unless it's glory.
I've seen some, 80-year-olds that,
Just
don't
defies
cry.
gravity. Yeah.
Yes.
You
No,
know?
but it's just, and this is what's beautiful about Iris is that actually it's about who she is, and she has put more effort into being herself as opposed to the superficial. And right now, once again, this documentary seems so interesting watching it. I mean, it wasn't done so long ago, but watching it in an age where, people edit their Instagram pictures. We care so much about the superficial. It's refreshing to have this documentary and to actually think about it and just say, wow,
Yeah.
And for me, it was also not only her fashion, but when she became a professor and she was doing the teaching
tour,
with the
yes.
different students.
Yes.
And I thought it was so valuable in that, because she was like, most designers nowadays think this is all you need to do, but there's so many different elements you have to think about. And I just thought, even though she was doing that course for fashion, imagine how many other industries, if we actually applied that same method to what it is that she's doing, where you get to see how different people craft, how people, the different ways in which you do things to ensure that the craft isn't lost. And obviously there's a lot of hard work that goes into things. But yeah, we're also in this kind of era where we want things quick. We don't want to rush. And I think Iris also kind of showed us that there is value and there's still something to hide about taking your time and the quality of things. So, no.
I think it's time to head to the scores, guys.
Okay.
So we got the spreadsheet up.
Hey, Atlanta. Apple is open for small business. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. With privacy and security built in on all devices, it's easy for you to protect your customers' data. And if you need hardware or software support, you'll get advice from business experts at no cost whatsoever. So you can focus more on the soup du jour and less on, the other stuff. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
Spreadsheet of dreams.
And the first score that we give out of 5, you can go to decimal places if you wish, is recommendability score.
High 5.
Well,
You can have 5. You can have any way. So straight in with the 5. I was going to say
Bias
we'll start
not.
with you, but yeah.
It's 5. I love it.
Oh, it's me.
Post-colonial child.
Yeah, 5.
What was the hesitation for there?
Because you always disagree with me. She was trying not to disagree with me.
I agreed with you for the second time this
I
year.
know. I don't know what's going on.
I will give it 3.75.
What? What a harsh person you are.
Because
Why?
I honestly think if you're not into fashion per se,
That's
you
true.
wouldn't be interested in this document. As interesting as it is, the first thing you're going to think is, this is a lot about fashion. And I think if you're into documentaries and the point that Kobe and Helen have raised about it not necessarily tying together could be. So that's what I would give.
I would have never. To be honest, when I saw
Yeah,
you,
I would not have-
I'm not into fashion film documentaries.
I would never have watched Iris, and I love documentaries if you didn't recommend it. So
Yeah.
Are you glad you watched it?
yeah, it was interesting.
Hi.
So,
I know. I'm done. I'm going home now.
unfortunately, I'm not going to go as high as everyone else. I'm going to give it a 3 just because I loved Iris. I really wanted to know a little bit more about her, and I felt a little bit cheated in that they didn't either tell a story or I don't know. It just that there's documentaries are quite easy structured to do. You kind of have your moment, and then you're working up to how it gets to there, or you're telling a story, or you're asking questions and letting the viewer decide on that. And I felt it missed out a little bit on that. And if it was going to go full fashion, it didn't quite do that as well. So while it's a really, really lovely portrait of an absolutely fascinated person, it as a documentary itself, I felt it let itself down. But I think if you've ever sort of seen a picture of her or you're vaguely interested in it, then you should definitely give it a go.
So I'm going to go with Helen as well on the 3. I think Iris is fantastic, and a lot of the things she said were amazing. I think, as you say in Bookshire, people nowadays should hear more from people who have that kind of point of view, because it's ridiculous about. I know people there's one girl I know who's so hard on Instagram, like posing and posturing, and she's got like 8,000 fans. You can tell she's gutted with that.
She wants more?
Yeah, she wants more. So
You
she
should
can
check
start.
out my page.
But are you posting every single day from every
No,
single
but also my followers are like,
That's what I'm saying. You can tell she's gutted, and she just wants people
Is she one of those people, if she doesn't take a picture and 5 million people don't like it, then it never really...
I don't really follow that much. It's just like every time, when I see it, and you can tell that.
Maybe you'll follow her.
Maybe I should unfollow
she
her.
will notice.
She
Probably.
will.
Don't break
She'll get
my heart.
notification.
But so I think Bookshire was saying I literally have no idea about fashion, and what I wanted from the documentary was more insight into this industry. And some of my favorite documentaries, I don't know anything really about Formula One apart from the Go Fast. But watching the Senna documentary for me was like, fucking hell, this has got me gripped. I want to know everything about it right now. But it just didn't have me in that way for the documentary, and that's what I really wanted. And I'd seen this, and I remember when it came out in cinema, but it just didn't grab me. But I was so happy you selected, because I would never have watched it. But it's still like, I wanted more. And there's Vivienne Westwood documentaries come out recently, and Alexander McQueen, and I really want to.
Yes, I want to watch
that
those
one
as well, because their stories seem fascinating as well. And I think they have a bit more of a bite to them in a way. And that might be giving me more insight into the fashion industry. So I'm sorry, it's a bit lower than
it's all right.
guys.
I love Iris.
3.95 for recommendability is
that's high.
start,
Thanks to me.
Thanks, girl.
Repeat viewing score, Books and Rhymes.
5.
You're really not. You're not very. You're just like, you're not objective.
Do you know what? No, I'm not, because I love Iris and I love the documentary and I watch it. Do you know why? Because it's so it's easy watch, and you take away things from it. For me, every time, and it's also good background viewing, and it's not exhausting. So,
how many times have you seen this, just out of interest?
4 times.
Wow,
That's quite a lot.
Okay, so that's why there's the 5.
And it's a recent film, so that's
I like it.
Post-colonial child, repeat viewing.
This is where they're going to.
She's gonna come from the backside. She's gonna be like 1.
Well, what's the lowest I can go?
The shade is out.
There's no shade.
You can have 0, but we don't do anything minus lower than that.
Okay.
No.
So, I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to give it 1. And I'm going to explain why I gave it 5 for recommendability.
Yeah.
Because I think
it
it's
is.
good.
I struggle to pronounce that word as well.
It will be a word.
I recommend everyone watching the film, because I just enjoyed learning about as much as it wasn't done in this way where you kind of get all of her. I was grateful to get some of her, so I would definitely recommend watching it. But I do not see myself.
You should see her face
watching
right
it
now.
again. And I don't know why anybody watches it again. But I don't watch a lot of things back. Well, depends. But anyways, yes.
That's fine. So was that a 0?
That was a 1.
Okay.
I'm actually a post-colonial child on this.
Okay.
I would give it a 1 as well. I don't see myself watching Iris again after I watched it. Yeah. Definitely not 4 times.
One thing we've learned with this podcast is that anything that's documentary or real life based, repeat viewing is always very low.
Really?
Because
I actually watch more documentaries than movies again and again.
Again and again. Just not Iris.
This is an exception for you.
I like it.
I mean, it is your personal. I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to go 1.5 because I think I'm not mad for watching it again, but there's a couple of people that I know would enjoy it, and I'd watch it with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 1 here, guys.
I'm getting pummeled.
Yeah, this is hard.
Don't take
No,
it
I'm not taking
personally.
it personally. Don't worry,
Yeah.
please. It's a film. She ain't paying my bills.
So this is where I think it might pick up some more points, is a small screen score. Books and Rhymes.
What is it?
Do I need
So
to
do you want an explanation of the small screen score?
like watch it on your phone?
Watching it on your phone or your laptop.
No,
versus-
it's more about on the TV.
That's what I thought.
I don't own a TV. I don't own a TV.
I knew what
Oh,
you
yeah,
were
we are-
saying.
But
was
small
that.
screen
You
for
are
me is a
here, there,
laptop.
you are here, there, and everywhere. So
I was like, that's millennial.
I don't
No,
own a
it's not.
TV.
Do you mean if it turns up
All
on
these
TV, wouldn't we
privileges
watch
of
it?
TV.
the small screen scores mean the fact you're watching on Netflix and not in the cinema. So it means typically, laptop to TV size.
Yeah.
Helen's vehemently against anyone watching on the phone, but if needs must for this podcast only.
I
then we're-
didn't watch any of them on my phone. You'll be happy to know.
Okay.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so how well does this work on a small screen, i.e. your TV, compared to if you watch like a Marvel film, you probably don't want to watch that on your TV because that's a big screen experience. But documentaries, or how well does it work on Netflix for a small screen?
If you can translate that to a number.
Do I need to repeat myself?
Why?
Yeah.
How well does it translate? Oh, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like I would watch it on a small screen, not on the cinema.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
It's a high score.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna give it 4.
You don't want to go. You don't want to go 5. Just like I'm giving you a 5 already. Deal with it.
I'll give it a 4 because I think documentaries do lend themselves more to the small screen. You can watch it on a small screen and not lose anything.
Your phone.
just me. Too many people in the room.
So confusing.
I'm also going to go 4.
I'm going to go 5.
Ooh.
I watched it on my iPad on the train, and small screen wise, it looked great. It might give an indication to my engagement score next, but I think it looked fine on the small screen.
Engagement score?
Engagement score.
Well, so this is why I'm going to not give a 5. Well, no, not really.
Gasp.
No, because to be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't require much concentration. Like I said, it's a good background stuff to listen to. It's almost like, unless you're particularly interested in the pieces that she's wearing, but then the documentary does not lend itself to an analysis of style. It is more, like you said, like Helen said, presenting her as a whole, as opposed to analysing and deconstructing what she is. So in terms of engagement, I'd say, like a 3, because you can watch it passively and be pleased and still get what you need from it.
It's a 2 for me. I'm a professional at watching. And this was definitely something for the background.
I'm going to agree with Post-Colonial Child. Yeah, definitely. I tend to do multiple things at once. And
The background viewing. Yeah.
I'm sort of getting the impression maybe you'd like Iris to live with or something. Would you like of her?
No, she'd annoy me.
No? Too much clutter. Only in the background.
Yeah, I would want her clothes and her, accessories.
Access to a
please don't
wardrobe.
live with me. It's all right.
Shuffling around.
We can go for drinks and brunch and stuff, but no thanks. She's lovely. She's like people. She's really nice, but no thanks.
At a distance. I think I'm going to go for a 3 as well. I found because the documentary didn't drive me in a story or anything, I did get a little bit distracted at sort of Googling her costumes and things.
I'm going to go for a 1 here, guys.
What?
Didn't engage you?
We're all like, I didn't
yeah.
say nothing. All of you gasped on my behalf.
I was there. I was watching it, and within the first kind of 25 minutes, I was there. Okay, good. I could pretty much tell exactly where this documentary is going to go. So now, because I was on the train as well, and I got my phone out and started playing on my game, the recent game that I downloaded, and I started playing along with it, going, "Yeah, okay, yeah." Still there.
Oh no!
And I don't think and I still caught that bit that I really loved when I can't remember what she said now. I thought I could still hear exactly what she was talking about and the nuggets she was taking. So, like I say, I think once you know what she looks like and the kind of arena she's in, then you perhaps don't need to see so much.
Yeah. I was just going to say this would be the lowest you've given for engagement.
Yeah, normally I'm like in there, but this time I dived out.
Sure. Do you know what the funny thing is? I'm actually taking this low score as a bonus.
Flipping it.
Yeah, but because sometimes you want to watch a film or documentary passively and you just want background noise. So I think this works perfectly as a good background noise. And
But I wouldn't choose a documentary for background noise.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
I would choose something else for background noise.
Really?
I wouldn't choose. Oh no, you need to concentrate for a horror movie.
It's like you're listening to Radio 4. But that's what it's like. It's like Radio 4, but with
just waiting
video.
for the snippets of like magic.
Yeah, and just you just go. It's like, yeah, okay.
Wait, what? So we have a score of 3.1, which I think is fair.
Yeah,
Pretty good. I agree. Pretty good. Yep.
Thanks, guys. Can you give us? We talked about Iris's husband.
Yes.
Before the recording, Bookshire, you gave us some insights as to how he's doing. Where he's. Tell us. Give us that insight.
I did.
Yeah, you said he passed away.
Oh,
I
was
did.
it?
Yeah.
Well, it was 100 when this was recorded.
So he was 100 and
when he passed away.
I believe he passed away last year, and it was so sad because he was like, for me, watching the documentary, like you said, Kobe, I would have liked them to have spent more time about their relationship. And to me, it seemed like old Hollywood kind of romance. And even my friend and I who were watching it, the first time I watched it, we were watching it together and was like, oh my God, this is so sweet. And then we Googled, well, like, is he still alive? And it's like, he died. And so for me, it's like, oh my gosh, because they're so dependent on each other, I'm thinking, how is she coping without him? Because they've lived together since she was in her 20s. Yes. No, actually 70 plus, in her 20s. They've been together since her 20s. And
there's that thing she said about she broke her hip.
Yeah, and she didn't tell him.
And she didn't tell him. She was like, because he
would be distressed about that. Yeah.
Crazy.
I want a love like that.
One day,
like that.
One day, maybe. I can't promise that. Don't know why I did that. Guys, can you sound off? Tell everyone your individual Twitter accounts, your social media handles, where we can find you.
Yeah.
And
you were so excited.
Like self-promo time.
And of course, the podcast where we can find you online.
Okay. Oh, everyone's looking at me?
Books and Rhymes.
Okay. Hello, wonderful people. I am Books and Rhymes, the one who picked this particular film. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Books and Rhymes. I review books on Instagram, so come follow me on Instagram to find your next favorite read.
And I'm Bookshy Books, and you can find me on Twitter at Bookshy Books or Instagram at Bookshy Books or my website, bookshybooks.com. There's a trend.
Well, you can find me on Twitter as Post-Colonial Chi. And you can also find me on Instagram as Post-Colonial Child. And my website is yovanka.co.uk. Woo!
And if you want to follow Not Another Book Podcast, it is...
It's not willy-nilly.
That's not the handle, by the way. Our social media handle for Not Another Book Podcast is at NA Book Podcast. That's on Twitter, and at NA Book Podcast on Instagram. We are fantastic. You will like it. It's great. And you can listen to us on every podcast listening platform, including Spotify.
Hi, dudes.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. You were just listening to the latest episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Thank you to Brendan Russell for his sublime editing skills. Mighty People for the tunes you can hear right now. Please do come to iTunes and find us, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Find us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod and our website, flixwatcher.tv.